You were in the room. You made your case. You had all the data, the logic, the experience, and information that was needed, and they still chose the other path. Now, you have to walk out of that room, gather up your team, and go execute on something that you actually believe is wrong. What you do over the next 48 hours will decide more about your career than that decision that was just made. Most people get this backwards. They either go quiet and resentful, slow walk in the work, waiting to be proven right, or they relitigate the decision to anyone that will listen. Peers, team, friends, family, on and on. Both of these are actually career killers, and senior leaders are watching every move that you make. Here's the part that nobody tells you. Your boss does not need you to be right. Your boss needs to know that when they make a call that you don't agree with, you are still going to execute it like a professional and stay close enough to catch the issues before they get big. That is the skill that separates directors and vice presidents from the C-suite. Today, I'm going to walk through 3 failure modes that I see leaders fall into when their boss is wrong, and the moves that keep you in the room for that next decision instead of quietly being removed from it. If you have been removed from these rooms, check out this link right here for a video that was released last week where I get into that topic and how to actually navigate through it. All right, story time. Many of you know about all the acquisitions and IPOs and things that I've been through. A few years back, there was a SVP that had been hired to lead a massive acquisition and integration and also all of the support functions. Now, this was tough for me to process because this person had never done anything like this before. And here he was thrust into this senior leadership role and responsible for leading this massive integration. Again, he had never done any of this before. I had. I think at this point I'd been through about 45 acquisitions and integrations, so I didn't agree with this decision. I shared my thoughts, I shared my feedback, and the risks associated with putting a newbie in charge of a massive project like this, it didn't matter. The decision was made to support him, put him in that role. So what that meant was I had to check my ego. I had to support him in the best way I knew how. And as difficult as it was for me, that meant walking into conversations, having meetings with them and saying, no, I see what you're doing, and that's actually not how it's appreciated. They don't like to see it that way. They like seeing it this way, or this is what has worked in the past. And it didn't matter how much bad experience that I pulled on and examples that I shared with him, he didn't care. He was trying to put his dent in the universe and make it his way. Fine. I'm going to execute. And that's what I did. Anything and everything he needed, I did it. What this did is it kept me close to the project. And it didn't take long. Actually, after about a few months, people started to notice and question, well, wait, why is this guy supposed to be the one in charge, and yet Sean is the one who's actually making things happen. Sean is the one who's making trips, who's building relationships, who's mapping out processes. After a while, that started to pick up momentum. More and more people were asking the exact same question. And then a few more months went by, and I will never forget this. I was on a private jet with the CEO heading to one of our locations, and she point blank asked me, hey, I need you to step in and fix this. Yes, ma'am. I will make it happen, whatever it takes. And then I ended up picking up and moving down to that city for about a year, and we were able to move through the integration. Frustrating? Yes. Leadership? Also, yes. This is what real leadership looks like. It's not easy, but this is what you have to do. Here's the thing. Most MBA programs and leadership books, they teach you how to lead down in the chain of command. The real ceiling and issues for leaders and organizations is who's above them. How you handle being overruled decides how high you are going to go in your organization and future organizations. You have to start understanding these skills and knowing how to navigate through all of this. These are the 3 failure modes that you get into when your boss is wrong. The first, you push back with opinions, not outcomes. Saying things like, I don't think this is a good idea, I'm not comfortable with this direction. That's not a case. That is a feeling. And executives, they don't move on feelings, they move on trade-offs and risk. That's the thing that you have to understand. The fix come with data, not discomfort. Frame the cost of their path and the cost of your alternative. You present them with a decision. You bring the data and you share with them, here's what I see. We have option ABC. My thoughts are we go with this, but this is what this looks like. The reason I'm leaning this way is because here are the risks associated with B and C. How would you like to proceed? You present them with all of the information and then let them make the decision because ultimately they're responsible for it. Are they accountable for it? It's a conversation for another day, but they are ultimately responsible. And if you start trying to undermine and litigate and cause issues, they are going to notice and it is going to put a target on your back. Do not be the police. Don't try to veto. Present them with information and then let them decide. Once they decide, you execute. The second one is that you took no as the final answer or as a personal loss. You either went quiet and resentful, head down, and then conveyed it to your team. Well, this is what we've got to do. That doesn't inspire confidence from the people on your team. Or you kind of went back and forth and like, man, this is ridiculous. I need to prove them. They need to understand. That doesn't get you anywhere. All it does is kill your credibility. Senior leaders are watching how you handle losing. The fix is you can disagree, but then you commit to execution. When a decision is made, you are now in execution mode. Don't badmouth a decision to your peers or to your team. You support it publicly, even if you disagree privately. Your team is watching, all the other executives in the business are watching, and when things start to fail, they know. They might not publicly acknowledge it, but they know that, well, Jay made this decision and Sean's doing the best of his ability to make this happen. But they know what's going on. They can see what you are doing when it comes to solving these problems, and they know who made the decision. The third failure mode, you implemented but checked out. You did what was asked. You didn't watch out for any cracks or issues or problems. And by the time the problems started to get big, by the time they surfaced, the damage was done. And I told you so is not a leadership move. It doesn't matter how badly you want to scream it, nobody cares. They really don't. What they care about is results. The fix, loyal dissent, means execute and stay close. Before you start, write down 2 or 3 indicators that would tell you that this thing is going sideways and watch for them actively. When you show up, raise your hand early and professionally and give them options. Your job is to make the pull the plug moment easier for people who are above you. They need to be aware. Don't commit to timelines that are unrealistic. You let them know, hey, there is no way we can possibly make this happen because this. You inform them, you let them know, you raise your hand professionally and politely and let them know what's going on so that they can make decisions going forward. As you start processing through this, I've got a couple of questions that I want you to reflect on. The last time you disagreed with a decision from above, did you make your case with outcomes or opinions? Did you lean into, I don't like the way this isn't going to work. This isn't going to, or did you say, this isn't likely going to work because this, and this? And when you are able to clearly articulate all of those things, the conversation shifts. Next question I want you to think about. When the decision didn't go your way, did you actually commit to it or did you hedge? Were you finding ways? Were you waiting for your moment to say, I told you so, and just waiting for it to go wrong? That's not the approach. That's not what senior leadership is looking for. The third and final question, are you close enough to the execution right now to catch the warning signs before they become problems? This is something that I also struggled with, especially early on in my career, because I would just make snide, snarky comments. I would still kind of do the work, but I wasn't actively making sure that I was moving things forward. It doesn't matter how much you disagree, you have to fall in line. You have to do your absolute best to execute against the plan. And if and when it still goes south, you know in your heart that you've done the absolute best that you possibly could, that you've set your team up for success, that you've set the company up for success. That's the mindset that you need to have. A lot of leadership content out there these days talks about leading down and through the organization, and those skills are important to a point. Once you start making it into the director and vice president level roles, you have to start leading up the chain of command. You have to start thinking about how to navigate difficult situations and conversations. Even when you know you're right and you know the whole thing is going to blow up, you still have to execute. Your boss doesn't need you to be right. Your boss needs you to be useful when they aren't.